Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Shelly. Today I am sharing probably one of my most requested videos ever, which is one of my sales calls, a full recording of my sales calls live in action. This call was probably done around a year ago. And yeah, I'm going to show it from start to finish. I've made a couple cuts just for privacy reasons of the pitch and obviously the prospect's name. But I wanted to do a bit of an intro before we dive straight in, just to really give you an overview of the call itself, details to watch out for, and how you can really learn and implement kind of key takeaways from this so you can sell with your EQ and your feminine energy. So essentially, I am selling here to a couple, a husband and a wife. I have to include them both, which I know a lot of people struggle to do when you're selling to two people on a call, balancing the perfect amount of attention for both prospects and energy as well when you're selling to a husband and wife. So this call is for a husband and wife. They're making the decision together. The main thing I want you guys to look at and focus on is the discovery phase, which is around the first 20-25 minutes of the call. There's 3 phases of a call: discovery, pitch, and then price drop / buying or objections. As I said, I've cut out the pitch for privacy reasons. So you've got the discovery and then you've got the price drop, and then this couple do end up paying in full on the call. So the reason I want you to focus on the discovery is because I truly believe, and what I train the women in my program, is that objections can be pre-handled, I'd say 98% of the time. Of course, there are going to be people that never buy, and of course, there are going to be people who genuinely need to speak to their partner or genuinely have money, logistics, etc. But overall, in my opinion, objections can be pre-handled. I do not love the idea of bracing at the end of the call. I used to do this, by the way, waiting for the objection, battling with someone in the call to make them buy. It is not nice. No one wants to do that. It's not enjoyable. By pre-handling the objections, such as I'm going to speak to my partner, time, money, intent, by actually really digging deep in the discovery, having a very open and transparent conversation there, you can absolutely pre-handle those objections, which is exactly what I did, which allowed the prospects to feel comfortable, have their space to communicate with each other and myself, and then pay in full on the call. Therefore, selling in your feminine energy using high EQ just to make the call a lot more enjoyable. And you'll probably be able to see how relaxed I am as well. There's no mind games, there's no trickery. It's just me having a conversation, helping a lovely couple, lead them through, helping them reach their desired destination. So I hope you enjoy. I'm excited to share this with you. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you've got any questions or are curious about anything, let me know. And remember, guys, everyone sells differently. There's no right or wrong. There's different selling styles, there's different sales trainers, there's B2C, B2B. This is just what worked for me, and this is what helped me achieve, in this offer specifically, a 55% close rate consistently, which was the highest close rate to date that the company has achieved, and being one of the only female sales reps as well. So enjoy, and yeah, let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Oh, yes. Let me just put my camera on. Let me just try to. Give me a second, please.
No worries, take your time. I'm not the best with text. You're kind of on your own.
Yes, I am also trying to fiddle with my camera. Hopefully,
You may need to go to Zoom settings on your device,
settings on the
sometimes to allow camera access.
yeah, the thing is that with my laptop camera, it crashes. So I'm trying to just find my the add-on.
Okay.
Okay, I think
Perfect. I can see now. How are you doing? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Sorry, what's your name?
But so she, I think had a chat with you. So she's just coming in.
Okay,
In
perfect.
a second. Yes.
Is she, so did you say your okay, perfect. I think your camera just
Yeah. So that's the issue with the let me try in the background, try to fix that up.
okay. I can see you now.
Yeah. Apologies.
You
Keeps
can.
crashing. So apologies if it goes back. But
No
yeah.
worries.
Nimrod, you can-
Yeah.
Perfect. Are you both able to?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Are you both able to sit on camera for the next like 45 minutes?
Yeah, yeah, that should be fine. He's just getting another chair.
Okay, perfect. Well, lovely to meet you. My name is Shelley. I'm part of the management team.
Mhm.
How's your weekend? Is it going okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah, busy. We've got two kids, so it's always a hassle.
Enjoying the
Yeah.
sunshine.
Yes, yes, yes.
Nice. I think you spoke with.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
I just
I
thought
think
it's yeah.
and just to clarify, you both into my calendar to discuss
Mhm.
working with us.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll just wait, put up a chair, and then we will get started. Where are you calling from, both of you?
London.
We have a lot of clients in the London area doing
Okay. Okay.
super popular, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me know when you are both ready.
Sorry, it's just a bit of a cramped sort of
It's
space
okay.
here.
No worries.
So,
Right. Thank you. Yes. All good.
Okay, perfect. So I have a short form here. I'm guessing. So I'll just briefly go through this just to make sure we're on the same
Mhm.
page. But you mentioned that you're both in that research phase and you're starting out. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. And you mentioned that your driving force really is you want to make a bit more income. You want to be able to buy a property yourselves in the near
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually spoken to quite a few couples over the past couple of months who've had that same goal. You mentioned that you haven't necessarily tried another business, but you have rented out a room in a flat before. So you've kind of
Yeah.
dipped your toe in, I guess, the water, should I say.
Yeah. So in our own flat, actually, I went away for a little bit while I was on maternity. And so we had this room for almost 3 months available. So we just cleaned it up a bit, took out some personal things and just rented it out.
Sure, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
love that. And you mentioned that it would be both of yourselves actively involved in the business, like 50-50 partnership.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, it would be the case. So
Yeah.
Perfect. And then finally, you mentioned you have between 5 to 7K investment to kickstart your business. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, really then, the first part of this call is just for me to find out a little bit more about your background, what you've done in the past in regards to what you're doing now, and then really, I guess, to understand what it is that you're exactly looking for, just to see if we can help in the first place. If we can, then I'm more than happy I can walk you through that today. But if we can't, I'll just let you know, because there are some potential clients that we can't always help. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I think the camera's turned off.
Yeah. It's sort of it's sort of glitchy
Okay.
issue. I'm trying to turn it on, but
Sure.
oh, there you go.
Okay, perfect.
Nope, nope, it's gone again. Sorry.
No, don't worry, there's always a technical difficulty.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm curious both. What was it that led you both to get in touch with us?
Um, so Mohsen first saw their Instagram, and we had done a little bit of Airbnb, but this was a different scale. I mean, it was just really interesting how far they come. We saw some of their videos and how they really just managed to turn their lives around and the sort of gateway to do that, and really just make a great profitable business out of it. Um, yeah. And so that's sort of what, we thought when we'd go into it.
Sure. And
Sure, yes. So, like as I, yeah, so I've had a bit more experience than Nimra. I've done that some years ago in Jersey as well, Channel Islands, where I used to live. And also done that in the UK. So primarily, I've also kind of considered, sorry, the a similar model in terms of subletting, short lets. So, spare rooms and things as such.
sure.
So, and the reason that I was looking at other, you could say Muslim community within the UK, we were trying to do this kind of add a supplementary income. So our purpose is, we don't want to kind of borrow money and do that, but
Yeah.
more of an organically grow, just out of like, let's say, kind of a sublet model,
Build your
rent.
wealth.
And
I
then
actually speak with, as I said,
I believe that she's doing a similar strategy,
yes, for
and
sure.
kind of resonated.
Absolutely. As I said at the beginning, we have a lot of couples, very similar position, who are looking to buy property without going down the interest, without going down the mortgage route, who do utilize service accommodation. So I completely understand that. Help me understand, both of you, what do you do for work? What do you do for a living at the moment?
I'm in HR.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm on a remote contract, so I fully work from home.
nice. Yeah.
So that's
How long have you done that?
oh, I've been in HR for 2017, since 2017.
Okay, it's quite a long time. And do you like what you do?
I do, yeah, it's an enjoyable business. I like my company a lot. They're very flexible. My team's great, so I do, yeah.
And
Okay.
also you have a full-time
Full-time
virtual remote job.
yeah.
So this is also kind of one of the, you could say, conveniences that we have in terms of we have the capacity to manage it.
Sure.
I'll be
One, like Nimra has a job which is fully remote,
Yeah,
so it
for
gives
sure.
it, and
I get that. And what do you do for work?
so I work in finance, investment finance, in the asset management industry. So
Sure. And how long have you done that?
and that pretty much like for 15 years.
Wow. Okay. And do you like what you do?
Enjoying it, yes. It helps pay the bills, and kind of again interesting in the sense of, again, links to buying assets,
Sure.
making a return out of it. It's
Yeah.
somewhat similar to, you could say, the again, this is, looks like an extension of what I'm pretty much doing as a core day job.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm curious, both of you, if you're both in jobs, for quite like stable careers now for, 6+ years, and you're enjoying what you do, and it gives you the flexibility, of yourself with family life, and you have that. Why do you now both want to look outside of that and start a business? Because I mean, a lot of people will just try and do some overtime, increase, their income that way. So why do you both want to start a business, I guess?
Yeah, with start a business, it's scalability, right? There's no cap on how much you can grow a business, really. It just depends on how much effort you put with overtime, all of that. There's a huge amount of sort of limitations and just that, but also like sorry. So that's part of the reason. And the other one was just, we've been thinking about a business for a while. Most of us done different businesses. And the property was something we've been wanting to try, and this time we decided to push ourselves.
Sure. Anything to add?
Sorry?
Anything to add to kind of what wanting to start a business?
Yeah, so I think so for us, it's not just the extra cash, kind of a few thousand a month. So it's more build a scalable business, and like to get a house without a mortgage in London, it's a magnitude of hundreds of thousands, and that's what something like we're after. And yes, I do have, you could say, kind of various side income streams or overtime things as such, but that doesn't help. And I think that the one with the real estate is more scalable, as Nimra mentioned.
For sure. And scalability, I know that's quite important for both of you. So I guess I'm curious, do you think that if you didn't start this business, right, if you didn't have a scalable business on the side with your current income that you're on from your 9 to 5, do you feel that it's not a possibility to be able to get a house that you want in London with just your normal incomes as it stands?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, just with taxes itself is so much of that, right? And if you're only relying just on your income, you can't really do it because you have expenses as well. We've got 2 children going into nursery, so it's just rent, everything else is just so costly. So
Yeah.
that you can't imagine, because we can, afford a regular lifestyle right now,
Sure.
right? But that doesn't leave much to save and put into
Sure.
property.
Yeah.
So so that side income that we would want to put towards towards something for the future.
Sure. Absolutely. No, I completely get that. My sister's actually going through the same with a family and children, and that house stage, it's very demanding, right, financially, especially if you're looking to do like cash in London. So I understand. Is that almost, I guess, how does that make you feel? Like pressure, perhaps, like that you've got to make a change in order to have that stability of a house, or?
Definitely pressure, but I would say positive pressure that it kind of, again, you set yourself an ambitious goal, and yes, it is hard, and sometimes kind of seems impossible to achieve, but then at the same time, it kind of gives you a bit more energy and motivation to kind of achieve it too. And so yes, I wouldn't say it's a life that's out of the convention that they kind of opting voluntarily. So I think that that voluntary part becomes a bit easier, that you're not being forced to do this, but
Sure.
We want that financial freedom. That's what we're trying to achieve, isn't it? So
For
yes,
sure.
it is hard, and sometimes it does get gloomy.
Sure. Because I guess,
But
like you said, if you didn't start that business, if you didn't have that scalability, you wouldn't be able to be a homeowners, right? And that is so. I guess, what's that like to know that you have to take the steps? Yeah, it's positive steps, but you have to be able to put that structure in place to be able to own that home.
I think it's motivating.
Yes.
We did the Airbnb for such a brief time, and I enjoyed it from, just that small perspective. So to be able to do something you enjoy, to be able to have extra income, and then hope for a future that we want is a nice motivating factor, I think, and I like that. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. And how long have you both been seriously looking into service that viable business model for you both?
So that was so I've done the the Air the Airbnb that I did was back in 2021, and before this Jersey also I used to do that. So it was a matter of, you could say, finding the time. So it was something that, like, I knew, like, we had to do at some point, but it was, again, like, we had kids, so we got busier. So you also then start getting a bit like nervous. I think now with our first one, now she's about to be getting to school. We're now much more confident. We're able to manage both the day jobs, kids,
Sure.
as well as the commitments it would require.
And when you say nervous, what do you mean by that?
I guess just putting money into something, when, this one was just in, a few months old. It's sort of nerve-wracking. And then when they both start nursery, it's sort of like you don't want to put too much of your money and, into something that might not work.
Sure.
And I think now we're a bit more comfortable financially, a bit more comfortable where we are in life, a little bit more confident in ourselves and our ability to do all of this. And that's where that's where that was. And it's just nervous, and at that time, I think when we first done it, most of it also just switched to a new job position as well. So to take a lot of risks at the same time does become a bit nerve-wracking, especially if at that time I was also on maternity. So, all of those things were a factor into that.
And I'm curious, how do you both feel about it now, taking that step and starting that business so you can have the life that you both want? Do you both still feel a little bit nervous, or do you feel nervous but you're gonna do it anyway?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, you feel nervous when you do any new venture, right? That requires a bit of sacrifice from yourself. And so, yeah, we do feel nervous, but in I guess a motivating sort of way that we feel like this is something we can do. And you know what? Even if it completely fails, we know we won't be in this sort of pit that we can't get out of.
Sure. And is that how you've been feeling recently? Kind of you're stuck in kind of this rut that you want to break free of?
Yeah, and I think I think so. And I think we know that this is a good push for us,
Yeah, I get that.
to explore this opportunity and see how we feel about it. And we need to start small. It's something that we can do.
Yeah, I speak with, as I said, quite a lot of couples, and it's almost like I hear a lot of them saying it's almost like they're kind of on that hamster wheel of kind of doing the same thing month in, month out, and they want to see that change. They want it, but life's busy, and you've obviously got your family, and you've got these responsibilities, and it's overwhelming. I hear that a lot, and sometimes like we said, with the feeling nervous and being uncomfortable, like everyone feels that way. Like having that fear is so normal, because it's going to be, like you said, with any new venture. I almost think, I guess I know I can't speak for anyone, but from my perspective, when I've done kind of steps like this with businesses, it's like I would rather take a step and at least I know I tried and see where it takes me, rather than almost never know at all. What's your opinion on that, both?
Yeah, I know most of all for that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly like how I feel that, like what Jeff Bezos says, that when you turn 80 or on your deathbed, and you don't want to turn back and imagine or think about things which you didn't try,
Yes.
right? So for me, again, like the success is more kind of, you could say one of the outcomes, but that's not what we're trying to get. Not try to get rich or those,
Sure.
but just the process, and kind of be liberated in that and enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm curious, why now then? Why today? What do you think's been that catalyst for both of you to think we've got to now start prioritizing our future rather than continuing kind of on that cycle, really?
So I think our kids are now growing, so it's a matter of, you think you'll always stay young and you won't get more responsibility, but time as it creeps, they both do creep up. So the seriousness of it kind of hitting us now, like the reality of it.
Sure.
And also the fact that with the kids now, so the biggest hurdle for us was the the commitment in terms of time, and then that now I think with the kids a bit older now, we can now think about it.
Sure. Yeah. And you mentioned reality's hitting, that it's getting quite serious for you. So do you guys feel that you possibly have to take that now and make that change and take that step to start putting the building blocks up to have that more stable future that you both want?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And in terms of a mentor, I guess I'm curious to know from both of you, why do you want to invest in that mentor? Why do you want to invest in education instead of possibly doing what you did before and just trying this independently, maybe free resources online?
It's just to learn more.
Yeah.
Learn from someone who's done it before, who's made the mistakes before, and who has shown us that, they've succeeded, and and they're confident in what they're doing. So it gives you a sense of confidence as well, and you learn so much from someone who's done it before, and it's not just a course from someone who's, read about it. It's
Sure.
someone who's actually done it. So they've had they've put everything into their business. So they've had their lives online for that as well, right?
Yeah.
So they've done that. So it's nice to have that sort of experience when you talk to someone about something you're starting with.
Yeah. Anything, Dad?
And I think the community part of it. So like personally, I've led so many ventures, kind of like businesses or attempts at it, but I've done that solo. So what that means is then at some point, you have challenges or no way to kind of reflect to. So then being part of the community definitely helps. In terms of, again, as Nimra said, like, the community, the mentors, so they've already gone through those learning curves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of being able to learn, from the mistakes and
Yeah.
the best practices that they were summarized. Yeah.
Yeah. And for, you mentioned trying other ventures in the past and being quite independent with it, right? Not seeking outside help. Do you feel that's been, I guess, a bit isolating in those challenging times and I guess having no one to kind of turn to when you've needed that advice?
Yes, it does. You do end up in situations where, in retrospection, that you think that if some advice or mentorship was there, perhaps you'd have steered it or done things slightly differently.
Got you.
So definitely, I think there's quite a lot of value in terms of these resources.
Sure. For
you
you, do you still have those ventures now, or have they come to an end?
They're going on, yes, now and about, yeah.
Okay, so you've been able, so there's still trade, like, are they still bringing you an income in the back, or have you had some that you've started and not continued with, and some that you've continued with?
Yeah, they've been like a mixed basket, to be honest. So some which, with the time and money required, so kind of then put on hold, cut the losses, and then some they are kind of now stable. So it's a matter of, yeah, balancing it up. Yes, yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what are the ventures that you kind of got in the background?
So they're more, you could say, related to my professional career. So in my finance, investment, consulting, etc. And that's where in some of them failed. And that again was, I take the learning process, which some failures and ultimately led to learning that made me successful.
And why do you think they failed? Do you think what was because I've also had a business that's failed miserably, so I know how that feels. What do you think it was for you what do you think the catalyst was that made them fail?
So I think in that there was that one absence of mentors, being in the right community, so that isolation perhaps didn't help.
Sure. Okay.
Choosing the right team, etc. So it was a mix of those factors.
Sure. Okay, got you. So I guess for you both, obviously that you've done in the past, and then both of you with this, I guess possibly do you feel that not having this outside help in the past, not having that mentorship, has possibly kept you from taking that step, kept you from setting up and building your successful?
I would say partially, fair to say, yeah.
Yeah.
You could say the chances of success become a bit more easier. One, you avoid mistakes, which you might have to doing your own.
Sure.
So definitely it improves the chances of success.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. Very similar to that. And it's just sort of, we didn't really know too many people in our own circle who've done it. And so, you can't really speak to anyone who's done it before. So you have to go in sort of like, so to speak.
Find the right person for you, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you feel comfortable in that
Yeah.
taking step, for sure. No, I completely get that. Okay, amazing. So in terms of like timeframes itself then, so we're only looking to work with clients who want their first property on the market in the next 3 months. Does that align with both of your goals?
The next 3 months.
So is this the first property you mentioned? So in terms of first property, yeah. Yeah, so from that perspective, yeah, we're all like
we're ready.
up and ready for it, yeah. But just the only thing that I was considering, the interest rates are at its peak, and that's what we were discussing, that is this the right time to get into those lease agreements, or kind of wait until interest rates start coming down? I think that
interest rates will have nothing to do with you. So interest rates is just the landlord's mortgage, which has nothing to do with you at all, or like any tenant or someone who is property. If anything, landlords will want to be able to ensure that someone is renting their property to pay their mortgage. So that is more of a benefit to you starting out in the business. But yeah, nothing will have an effect on you in that way, because you will just be paying a set amount of rent to a landlord. That won't change. That will be fixed in your let agreement.
Yeah. Now in that case, yeah. So I think 3 months is more than enough. Yeah.
If we break that down a little bit further, just to give you some clarity, we usually say to our clients they would need about 2 hours per day, 14 hours per week, self-paced. to fit around your schedule. If you want keys in your hand to your first property within like 4 to 6 weeks. So first of all, 2 hours per day, is that doable for both of you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 of you, which is such an advantage, because I would say 2 hours per day to one person. So, you know, the more you can dedicate, and like you both said, like the strengths that you'll both bring to the table in different elements of the business, you'll be able to navigate. But how does that sound? Keys in hand, 4 to 6 weeks.
I like that.
Yeah.
Quick. Fair enough. In terms of your investment then, so I know we broke it down briefly, but just so I can start now actually creating that plan of action for you both. How much is it that you currently have set aside that you're able to invest in this venture, your first property?
I think we have at least 5,000.
Yeah, we could start with 5,000.
5,000? Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, is that currently 5,000 set aside ready to go in your bank account, or what does that look like for you both?
Bank account currently sitting, waiting for us to do something with it. Yeah, sitting in our bank account waiting for us to do something with it.
Collecting dust.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's great. So that's what I would say to all of our clients to get started, to get the ball rolling. 5K is a really great investment. In the London area, you may be looking to creep up to around that 6K mark. That's kind of the top end of things. Just for full context. But we are really going to work with you to teach you how to stick within budget, keep your costs low, avoid deposits, etc. So there are a lot of kind of components we can really teach you to in order to really stick within your budget. Off the back of that, our clients usually make around £1,000 profit per property per month. Is that roughly what you were expecting from your research?
Yeah, so that's like for lease agreement. So that's what, like, I looked around. That's somewhere around that mark. Is practical.
Okay, perfect. Just so I can make sure that we can actually help you both then, what is it you want from us? Like, what do you want out of this program in order to take you from day one right today to a property cash flowing in 90 days?
Guidance.
Yeah, so
on sort of where
guidance
to
and
negotiate with a landlord. You know, we've always spoken to a landlord to let our own property to live in it. So how does that change when we are going through the subletting way, you know?
yeah, so from my perspective, so any pitfalls, you know, let's say supporting the documentation, agreement, negotiations,
So the legal side of things,
legal side of things, and things as such. So which, you know, we could learn from the mentors. So in terms of the both best practices, property sourcing, right? So like how best to source in terms of the best value propositions.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. We can help you with that for sure. And if we were to give you that, right, the guidance, right, essentially the blueprint of how to start to scale your service accommodation business, and you had a property on the market in 90 days, and you were able to start putting a plan together to scale and systemize this, right, how would things be different for you? Like, what would that mean for you, do you feel?
I think it's, I don't know, it's kind of, that's a hard question. I mean, it just gives you that confidence, doesn't it? That you have this ability to do something, and it gives you that motivation to keep doing it. I think that's changes our lives. And it's so self-guided, which is what we like, because it's sort of out of our regular job, you know, out of our regular 9 to 5. And I think that's sort of what we're looking for as well, something we are driving.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of have that almost controlled element, you know, if you're building something for you and you are kind of in the driving seat.
Yeah.
Is that what perhaps you feel, I guess, you're lacking in a way currently with the current jobs that you have?
In my job a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, great team and all that, but definitely there's a lack of sort of control on, you know, your own everything, your own schedule, your own how much effort you put in, everything.
Yeah, I speak with a lot of people, you know, a lot of women who say the same. Completely normal. I think in that 9 to 5 environment, you kind of do show up, do your job, and kind of leave it just at that. And there's not really any incentive to perhaps go that extra mile, is there, and do more. So I completely get that, especially with a business. The more you put in, the more you get out, right? So it's kind of driving. And how about, what's your perspective on if you've got that successful property cash flowing and you're able to have the skill to build and scale in the next 3 months? Like, what would, I guess, that mean for you?
I think yes, that's financial freedom, and kind of, you could say, an aspiration being filled up. So like, I'm quite well accomplished in my job careers, but at the end of the day, it's not mine. It's my boss's. It's just, and that is something towards which, like, I'm working with, in terms of, so you be able to set up your own kind of a business, where hopefully then, one day we could retire from this 9 to 5, and be able to full-time focus on it. So I think definitely, yeah, so having that, the idea of a first property, being kind of up and operational, it sounds like a first step, isn't it?
Yeah, right? Yeah. You know that you're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important, right? Like you both mentioned that at the moment you're working for someone else's goal, right? And collectively, for both of you as a partnership and for your family, you want to be able to take back that control and build something for your family, and what's going to help you both flourish and live the life you want for both yourself and your children, right? And I do think that's such the great thing about us working with partners like yourselves, because you have the same goals. You're going to put in that drive, aren't you? And you're going to have off days, both of you, and you're going to be there to pick each other up, because that is what the partnership's about. So yeah, I completely understand that. I'm curious from the other perspective, what happens if you don't do anything about this? And we're 6, 12, 18 months down the line, and you kind of kick that can down the road and nothing ever happened. And you kind of look back and think, I should have just done something, but I didn't. What happens then?
You mean to say, like, if we try it and it doesn't work out, or
if you never try at all? And a lot of fear can get in the way, procrastination.
Yeah, I guess then you just feel a regret, don't you? Because it's something that's successful. Like we've done, even the small bit we did, we still generate a profit in our own apartment to more than pay the rent. So so that there's definitely potential for success, and you're sort of missing out on that. There's a regret, especially months down the line, where like we put our foot into it and we didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about yourself? Add to that, or do you feel, I guess, the same?
Yeah, I would think I feel the same, perhaps a bit more miserable. So, and I am a true believer of at least trying. So, regardless of success or failure. So definitely I'll be regretting if I didn't have a go.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, like, both of you, you're not really willing to settle for that. You want to take that step, and even if it's uncomfortable at that, right, and just see where it takes you. Yeah, for sure. Well, based off everything we've gone through so far, both, I absolutely do believe that our mentorship can help you achieve your property goals. I think, like you said, to give you that direction, to give you the blueprint, so you can really just take those steps, build the knowledge, the confidence that comes with that, so you can start building in for the freedom for your family. So with your permission, I'll share my screen and I'll just go through the step-by-step framework, essentially everything you're both going to need to know, so we can start changing the situation. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. What part of the mentorship do you both feel will be, I guess, the most beneficial to you?
For me, I think the access to the documentation and the sort of guidance on how to speak with the landlords, and really just to set up that business. And I guess that the documents and the scripts and all that gives you the confidence to go into a meeting with a landlord and sort of that power of negotiation, which I think is extremely, extremely beneficial when you're starting a business like this. And of course the Discord and the one-on-one calls are I think that's great as well, because especially once you start, you can discuss any questions and stuff like that. It's not sort of just here are your videos, here are your documents, go through them and start. It's sort of like, okay, I've looked at this, I've done this, and I have these questions, and you can discuss that with people. So that's really nice.
Yeah, love that. And how about yourself?
Yeah, so, so the documents that I mentioned was one, it
Yes.
helps jumpstart and kind of be aligned rather than going through costly mistakes, especially the legal side of it. And then the other is, yes, the constant reminders of those communities, the weekly catch-up calls, mentorship calls, etc. So those kind of keep pushing you, isn't it, right? So
yeah. Do you almost, I guess, possibly feel that it's the accountability that you perhaps haven't had outside your partnership to kind of push you forward and to keep the momentum going?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I get that. And for full transparency, right, do you both feel, possibly feel that this mentorship and the coaching is what you need in order to secure this property in the next 90 days, start earning 1K plus profit, learning how to build and scale, so you can start building your future and going towards the house that you would like?
I think yes, so definitely as a starters, we've not done it, just keep pushing it. So definitely this will help get us into the zone quickly. So I would say the chance of having anything does improve,
Yeah.
if you're in a mentorship program rather than not.
Yeah.
So and then not to mention, the higher chances of success and kind of being able to scale at the level that we want. So definitely.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And is that what you feel you both want and need, is that more the higher your chances being hired and that I guess guarantee that if you follow these steps, you're going to see success and you're going to be able to kickstart your business in the correct way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what I would say is, put me on mute. You two just have a chat, a bit of a regroup without me here. I'll come back and then I'll answer any questions you may have. Is that okay?
Or
Yeah, that sounds good.
Any questions for myself?
Any questions?
no, not for me.
No, I think we discussed it, and
Yeah. How are you both feeling? Do you want me to talk you through the steps?
we did, and we're definitely, I think, interested in the program, and going through with it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Would you like me to go through next steps?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Wait.
Of course, not a problem. So our next steps from here, they're quite simple. It's how we do our onboarding. So what we do is we process the investment and of course that money back guarantee agreement. You're then going to receive a link. I'm actually going to send you one so you can book a one-on-one coaching call. I find that they're really useful just so you can meet your coach, build that report and build that plan of action so you actually know the step one to take, because that's always the hardest. From there as well, this evening, I'll just send you all your logins to Discord, your modules, and you can just start going through them as and when you please. Any questions off the back of that, or do you want me to continue with the onboarding?
Yeah, let's continue.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. Can I ask whose name's going to be head on the account? So when it comes to investment, who would be fulfilling that?
So so we have a it has to be an other name because we have a corporate entity. I prefer if it is that company name. That's all right.
Yeah. So if you could put the company name in and then the preferred email address just on the Zoom chat, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, we have quite a few clients who do that actually. Works well for tax expenses. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to be coming to you then, your email. So I'm just going to send that now. And what I will do is I'll send you a text link as well. It's our Stripe invoice. Some of our clients find it a bit easier with Apple Pay, or it's completely up to you. So let me get that sent across. Let's see. Do you have your phone on you?
No, my children have stolen it.
Okay, no worries. Are you able to access your
log into my email? Yeah.
Okay, email's fine.
Report for it, right?
Let me know once you have seen the link or the link to come up in your inbox. Probably take your time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Does the email say it should be a Stripe invoice? Perfect. So yes, if you want to go ahead and click on that, if you want to go ahead and fulfill that, while you're doing that, I'm actually going to message your coach and I'm going to fill out your onboarding form to get your logins all ready to you.
Yeah.
Just let me know once you've done that, because I don't always get a notification from my side.
Okay.
And then I can ensure you have all your logins. Take your time, by the way.
Okay, so that's been done. So we've just done the payment.
Yes, we've received that. Thank you. So